I know that you spoke with a lot of the men behind the show about why it is that people have such a curiosity for these tech power players. What did they tell you? Why is it?
Well, we spoke with Mike Judge, who, of course, is the creator of this show, and he created Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill and Office Space. He worked in Silicon Valley when he was just starting out for a couple of years and wasn't really into it, but he got a lot of good material from that. And we also spoke with Alec Berg, who is known from Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know, sometimes, Trish, we talk about these crazy deals that happen in Silicon Valley. The price tags can be enormous. Everyone's still talking about Facebook buying WhatsApp. We can't always make sense of them. So the billionaires, they kind of become a secondary story here. This is largely about people going to Silicon Valley and trying to make it. But, of course, there are lots of billionaires in Silicon Valley, so we talked to them a little bit about that.
It's hard to really root for somebody who's a billionaire. You know, it's hard to make them a main character in something, especially this show that's so aspirational and it's so kind of the bad news bears. It's these guys who have nothing, who are trying to break in. And hopefully, you know, people hook into that and root for that. And if somebody's got $1 billion, it's kind of hard, I think, to sit at home and go, God, I hope this guy finds happiness. It's like, he's got $1 billion. He can go buy it. So, you know, I think it's a little harder to kind of root for those guys.
It's fun to write for the billionaires. So
yeah,
these particular types, because they're so crazy and interesting.
Yeah.
Another little tidbit, Trish. There was a show called Betas, also about the startup scene in Silicon Valley, that Amazon makes original shows now, they had done, and now they've decided not going to continue with. I said, did you guys see it? They basically said, we didn't want to watch it. You know, it happens sometimes in the world of creating shows. You don't want to end up stealing from another show, so they had never even watched that one.
You know, it's interesting. America loves technology and technology CEOs. You wonder sort of why that is. I mean, you look at the banking industry, right? And these guys don't get any kind of the love, so to speak, that some of the CEOs in Silicon Valley get. Why do people sort of make that exception, and why are they so interested, John?
Well, I mean, I guess if they weren't creating wealth for their shareholders, maybe it would be a different story. But there is a certain boldness to the kinds of things that a guy like Mark Zuckerberg will do. Or even this week we talked about Google having that new class of stock so that the Google founders can hold on to their power. There is a huge grip on these companies that they have, and that allows them to go do some really, really colorful things, whether it's buy companies or start new ventures, and I think that's why they get a lot of attention.
So tell me about this show. It's going to be funny? It's going to be a bit of a comedy? I mean, what's the premise here?
You know, I think it's again, it's about people trying to make it in the business and just some of the silliness that comes with that. And I think if you're, you know, if you like a show like Office Space, and I think there are some people in Silicon Valley who do sort of like that kind of attitude, it's probably going to appeal. You know, I think that you can't make sense of some of the stuff that happens in Silicon Valley. So it's really got to be about the aspirational stuff, as Alec Berg was highlighting.
And people are clearly fascinated. So the show is debuting tonight?
Yeah, this weekend. And
over the weekend, yes.
You know, they've got one season. I asked if they're going to get the second season pickup, and they're hopeful. If they do, they might start exploring some of those other big themes in the Valley: income gap, Google buses, all that fun stuff.